What's going on, people? How's everybody feeling? How's everybody doing? What's going on with you? Oh boy, maybe I'm too, maybe I'm too dark. But I'm gonna try to do this live stream, and I'm gonna make it quick. Um, I'm not gonna talk too long because I know there ain't a bunch of people up. So what I'm gonna do is maybe make this about 15 minutes or so. I was gonna do less. Anyway, let's talk about what I came to talk about today. And it's 1 a.m. in the morning, Eastern Standard Time. I want to talk about basically a divisiveness that exists in American politics, or politics worldwide. I think it's a situation where, actually, my brother asked me to talk about this too, just in case anybody's wondering why I'm talking about this. He asked me in my last live stream to talk about America, or not just America, but politics in general. And I, went from the standpoint of it being divided. And I think there's a lot of partisanship, in today's politics. A lot of saber rattling, threats and rumors of threats and scandals and things that are not important to the people. Actually, having regular order, actually having civility. You can disagree with somebody, but you should be able to come to some kind of consensus on how a society should be run. Especially in America, we have, this great society, or we're supposed to have this great society. And it seems like, every turn, be it healthcare, be it racism, be it income inequality, be it gender inequality, military issues, just the funding of the government, the passage of laws, crowd sizes, whatever it is, Twitter, it seems as if there's always some divisiveness in politics. And I think, we the people, allow, this divisiveness to exist when we play into the partisanship, who's on what side, and, basically red, blue states and stuff like that. I mean, myself, I'm a registered Democrat, but at the same time, it doesn't mean I can't, come to respect, those people that oppose the ideas that I believe in, or the values that they believe in. We should be able to still be Americans. We should still be able to be human beings. We still should be able to see eye to eye, on the civility of mankind, which is sorely lacking at times. And we don't. Sometimes people are caught up in sound bites and talking points and, partisan politics or postures, with people having surrogates on news shows and, different, ways of actually getting themselves heard. And I think sometimes we don't hear each other, and thank you for the one person that tuned in. I appreciate you, whoever you may be. And I think, it hurts society. It hurts our kids. It hurts future generations. It's like, do you want them to see the worst of us as it pertains to politics? Especially, with Charlottesville, the stuff that happened down there, I think Charlottesville, Virginia, or whatever. And, multiple people being shot, of different races and stuff like that, especially, in the, black community and stuff like that. And just different inequality that's happening with the LGBT community, or just, the stuff with Native Americans, which nobody really talks about too much. There's a lot of partisan issues out there that people don't really get into. I mean, people beef over anything, abortion, taxes, healthcare. Just, it's like, do we have any civility left in us? Do we want to create an environment where people can at least be heard, where, people can have a difference of opinion, but at the same time, you come together to at least make the society run, at least let the government function as it should, Hey, Melanie, I see you. Welcome to the live stream. I'm just talking about divided politics and how it hurts us as a society. And I think it's Lincoln that said, united we stand, divided we fall. Somewhere about, in those words, a house divided against itself cannot stand. Even in the Bible somewhere, it's been quoted as saying that. So I just feel like our politics has taken us into dark places. Not to say that it hasn't been there before. I mean, it's been there before, in centuries past. When you want to go back to the Roman Empire or Egypt or ancient Greece and stuff like that, with divided politics and the corruption of nations and the fall of empires and things like that, which have led people down dark paths and, civil wars and, civil rights movements. I mean, politics can definitely divide us and leave us on opposite sides of the issue. Melanie says, so true. I agree 100%. 2016 has showed us the worst. Yeah, hi again, Melanie. And you bring a great point. 2016 was a very divisive year in politics. So divisive, so negative. You wondered, was there any hope? I mean, I remember when I saw the results, black folks were just looking at each other, like, wow, what do we do next? And Melanie says, so divided and full of hate on both sides. Yeah. A lot of hatred going around as far as, society. Yas Poet says, hate to say it, it's not politics, it's politricks. Yeah, well, there are a lot of politricks out there. It's definitely a divided nation, a divided country, a divided world that we live in. Especially when you look over across the pond at Brexit and how that affected them, and issues going on, North Korea, with the United States and all that's happening, and issues in China, pillar tricks. Yeah, says Melanie. It's just crazy. It's sad. I mean, because we have the answers what's inside of us. I don't want to say it's about peace and love and understanding, but we could use some of that nowadays. In life, in society in general, we could use some civility. We could use some regular order if in fact it ever existed. But we have it inside of us. I think as a humanity, we have to be willing to see past our politics, to see past our divisions and look at what unites us. It sounds corny, it sounds sentimental, and sappy, but the reality is that we have to be willing to understand each other for our differences, but understand our commonalities as well. I mean, we all breathe the same air, we all eat food and bleed the same type of blood, at least most of us do, I mean, unless you're breathing in some polluted air, but that's a whole other issue all in itself. But we have commonalities in life as far as people caring about their family, whatever your family looks like, be it LGBT, be it nuclear, be it something that's totally strange. Well, Crimson Fantasy says, what's up? Yeah, what's up is I'm just talking about divided politics in America, divided politics all around the world. I imagine they have issues out there in Canada, maybe with their prime minister or something like that. I mean, it's all kind of things going on around the world. And I think it comes from a lack of empathy towards each other, a lack of civility, a lack of willingness to just understand each other and respect each other's differences. I mean, I don't have to agree with you. I don't have to, be in love with your ideas. You can be totally, polarly opposite of what, that I'm doing or what I'm about, and vice versa for me to you. But it doesn't mean I have to hate you. It doesn't mean I have to dehumanize you. And I think that's what our politics does. Yaspo says, have a good night, people. Be safe and blessed. You be blessed too, Yaspo. Thank you for stopping in. Appreciate your comments, bro. I'll catch you around, on the flip side. You know how it is. I look forward to your videos, your poetry and stuff like that. But again, I was just talking about divided politics and how it divides us and causes us not to see the commonality in each other as human beings. What makes us different is what makes us unique, but it also what makes us special. It also, helps us to just see different spectrums of life. And I think when people are so partisan and set on their issues and on one side of the fence, it causes them not to really see each other, be it from a religious standpoint, from a political standpoint, from a financial standpoint, or whatever. I mean, I think we have to, see each other as human beings first, see each other through the human eye, through the lens of human experience, and just begin to see that just because we are different in many different ways, or just because we have different political views, doesn't mean, we have to hate each other. Doesn't mean we have to be divisive towards each other. Doesn't mean we have to dehumanize each other. And I think the politics of today, be it in America, be it in Europe, be it in, the Middle East or the Far East, causes us to having, like a free reign or a green light to just disrespect each other and not treat each other as human beings. Because, before our politics, before anything, we believed or professed to believe or were taught to believe, we were human beings. Melanie says, I had a professor once who rocked my world when he told us about the Human Genome Project and how skin color really was a small difference. Let me read the rest of that. And how skin color was really such a small difference in us, such a small percentage of difference. Yeah, it is, but that goes into another issue that I could talk about. Yes, skin color is a small percentage, but people are not definitely treated that way. Because if I have to be real, after I cut off this YouTube video, I'm still black in America. And there's different the politics of being black in America. That doesn't go away when I turn off this video. When I go outside, I can show you outside right now. There are police cars roaming around my block. And no offense to you, Melanie, I imagine that those same police cars are probably not around your block in the same way. Melanie says it all goes back to when slavery began. White people saw black people as aliens and outsiders. And Melanie says, no, I get you. Yeah, and it's not to knock you, Melanie, and I get where you're coming from, saying that, colors may be a small difference in us. But as far as race is concerned, it's not treated that way. Being black in America can be rough sometimes. I mean, if you think about the whole situation with Colin Kaepernick and what he's protesting against, black folks being killed, unarmed black folks being killed by the police and stuff like that. And it's rough to deal with stuff like that. It's rough to wonder not if you gonna be shot by the police because they think you got a gun, or they think you harmful, or they think you a threat or a thug or somebody that's gonna kill them. I could be walking down the streets, and if I say the wrong thing to a cop or address them in the wrong way, that could be the end of my life. Melanie says, like a whole new species, yet the Human Genome Project showed it's not biologically a huge difference. And yes, sadly, we can't see that. We're all equal. A lot needs to change. Yeah, well, I think even with the Genome Project, even with the points that you make, Melanie, as far as race, not being that big of a difference, there's a lot of people out there that would disagree with you, in terms of the skin color, because people do get treated differently. Obviously there's privileges and things that you may have because of how you may look versus I may look in this country. And it's sad that it is that way, and it shouldn't be that way. I mean, maybe I'll elaborate on this in a further video, which I'll go into deeper. But yeah, just our politics in general just, takes us different places. Rusty Faith says, hey, Rusty Faith. Just talking about the division of politics in America and society, race, and how that all tangles in. And I know in a few minutes I'm about to get off here, but me and Melanie had an interesting conversation about that. There are people that may feel some strong ways about what you said, Melanie, but yeah, I hear where you're coming from. Race is a small difference, or maybe seem like a small difference to some scientifically, but in reality, race is treated a whole different way. Melanie says, yeah, I'm going to make a video on that, and I can see how I've been treated and gotten away with so much. Appearances, my skin color, white privilege is alive and well. And that bell means I'm almost done, but I will extend this a few more seconds, minutes or so. Yeah, white privilege is definitely something. Melanie says, I feel horrible that I get advantage in the world. It's the most messed up. Well, here's the thing. It is an issue. It is a problem. It is something that needs to be addressed. I mean, I think we start by having a dialogue with each other and acknowledging the history of America and the black guys and the stains and how people really get treated in this country based on their sex, based on their religion, based on their skin color, based on their socioeconomical background. These are things that matter, and when we try to sweep these under the rug and say, no, we live in this great post-racial society where these things don't exist, we do ourselves a disservice as a country, as a world, as a humanity, when we don't acknowledge these things that exist in all areas of society. And they're not going to go away, just like the division in our politics. They're not going to disappear if we don't acknowledge that the divisiveness and partisanship in our politics play a major factor in us not coming to an understanding of each other as humanities. As a humanity, as a human race, we need to see each other as human beings before we see each other as anything else. And I think that's lost. And I mean, as it comes to skin color, You know, you can't just turn it off. I understand, you know, pigmentation being a small thing, but like I said, after I turn off this video, you know, that doesn't go away. Me being black in America, you know, still is something that it cuts both ways. It's beautiful being black. I love being black. I like a lot of things about my culture, but also too, I'm seen in different ways because of my skin color, you know, because of how I look, because of the perception that people have of me, you know, based just upon how I look. You know, I wish it wasn't that way, but yeah. Melanie says, Mel, can I interview you for my YouTube channel? Of course you can. You know, you can talk to me. I have no problem with that. But yeah. Melanie says, not to like put you on the spot. Nah, you can't put me on the spot. I mean, me being a black man in America is just, it's always a you know, there's always a spotlight with that, and a perception that comes with that, and a judgment that comes with that. You know, I try not to use it as a crutch, because it's not a crutch. Being black is beautiful. You know, being black is great. You know, it's nothing wrong with understanding and accepting yourself for who you are. You know, however folks, you know, see it themselves. But there's also a negative side to it, as far as racial prejudice and how people look at you and see you. You know, and I think in this country, America specifically, you know, it is something that can't be escaped, regardless if folks want to deal with it or not. I am a black person. I am part of the black community. We are here. We're not disappearing. We are a deep part of this country. You know, we so much of the history that, you know, I hate to say when, you know, people say, okay, you know, you have a Black History Month. Black history is American history. American history is black history. Don't get it twisted. You know, there are many things, you know, from the founding of the nation to the Civil War to the Civil Rights Movement to women's suffrage to you know, LGBT rights, you know, in the wage inequality, healthcare. We're woven into the fabric of this society, but still and yet sometimes we're treated like, you know, we're second-class citizens, or it's not a problem, you know, that, you know, folks are killed unjustly in the streets. And that's something that a lot of folks may not want to hear, even on a live stream, especially at 1 a.m. in the morning. But guess what? It's not going to go away. You may not like what I'm saying, but the truth is not going to not be the truth. Black people are treated a certain way. Black people treat each other a certain way. These are issues that have to be dealt with. And until they're dealt with, problems will persist. I know I went a little bit over, but we got into the race part of it, which I wasn't going to get into too much. But Melanie brought that up, and I think these are things that needed to be touched on before I got off this live stream, and it wouldn't be right if I didn't touch on, you know, being black in America. And I will do a dedicated video just about being black in America. Who knows? I might even do a series of it. Who knows? Hopefully I could get some other black folks that I know to talk about being black in America and what that means. Melanie says, no, I want to talk about race on my YouTube channel. It's important to be heard. It's important for us to hear each other. It's important for white folks to hear black folks to hear white folks to hear Spanish folks to hear black folks, Asian folks to hear black and white folks, and vice versa, and the Native Americans, you know what I'm saying, you know, their plight as well. You know, I think there's so many voices that need to be heard that are not being heard as it pertains to how people are treated based on their race, based on their religion, based on their income, based on their skin color, based on their background, based on whatever it is that they're going through. And I think the less we hear each other, the more the problems persist, the worse things get in society. You know, and these things are not going to go away. You could ignore this video. You could thumbs down this video. You could leave negative comments, racial comments. Not saying you should. I don't want that to come get you. But the thing is, it's not going to go away. Even if you don't agree with what I'm saying on this video, from beginning to end, these problems are not going to go away. You can't just, you know, put it in the cellar like, it's an issue that's not worth nothing. You know, people matter. You know, these issues matter. The white lives matter, the black lives matter, you know, the Asian lives matter, the red lives matter. I know people don't want to hear this stuff, but the truth is, you know, all these different lives matter, all these different issues matter. All of our politics and how it, you know, affects us, they matter. You know, and when we ignore it, what are we saying to each other as a society? We're saying we don't matter to each other. Anyway, I gotta go. Thank you for the folks that have watched and comment, and I appreciate those folks that watch this in the replay. Leave comments. Try to keep it respectful, because I will address you if you don't. I will address if you do too, but I want to have an intelligent, peaceable conversation, an adult conversation where folks can agree and disagree and be heard, on the merits of their argument and conversation. Let's talk to you next time. Hopefully this was useful.